Jealousy. It's one of the most powerful and, let's be honest, painful emotions we can feel. It can make us feel insecure, angry, totally irrational sometimes. But what if it isn't just a negative feeling we're supposed to crush down? What if it's actually a signal? Okay, let's dive into this and really unpack what jealousy might be trying to tell us.
So we're kicking things off with a pretty bold statement here from Joshua Fields Milburn. We all just assume that jealousy is this universal human thing. But this quote, it challenges that idea right out of the gate. It suggests that maybe, just maybe, jealousy is a choice. And that sets up a really fascinating debate that we're going to explore.
So before we can even get into that debate, we have to make sure we're all on the same page. What exactly is this super complex emotion? Let's nail down a clear definition.
Okay, the very first thing we have to do is separate two emotions that we mix up all the time: jealousy and envy. As you can see, the huge difference is the number of people in the drama. Envy is a two-person game. I want your awesome car. Simple. But jealousy, it always involves a third person, a perceived rival. It's that fear that someone is going to take something you already have, usually the attention or affection in a relationship you care about.
And this definition really gets to the heart of it. According to Psychology Today, jealousy isn't just one feeling, it's a whole cocktail of them. You've got suspicion, fear, even humiliation in there. But the trigger is always the same, a perceived threat to a relationship you value. And that word perceived is so important. It means the threat doesn't even have to be real for you to feel it. And we can break this down even more into two main types. On one hand, you've got suspicious jealousy. This is the one that kind of grows out of our own stuff, our insecurities, our perceptions, even when there's no real evidence. But then there's reactive jealousy, which is a direct response to a real event, a situation that genuinely threatens the trust in a relationship. Knowing which one you're feeling is like step one to figuring out what to do next. So this brings us right to the central question. Is jealousy just this toxic thing our culture created, something we should try to get rid of? Or does it actually serve a real purpose?
The minimalists, well, they come down really hard on one side of this argument. From their perspective, jealousy is a fundamentally useless emotion. It offers zero benefits, only pain, and it's something we can and should choose to just eliminate from our lives.
So from their point of view, why does this feeling even exist? They argue it's a learned behavior, a nasty side effect of our competitive consumer culture that makes us treat people almost like possessions. It's all about comparison and ownership. In this view, jealousy isn't some deep, innate signal. It's just a megaphone for our own insecurities. And hey, if it's learned, they say, it can be unlearned. We can just turn it off.
And that's a pretty compelling argument. But is it really that simple? Is jealousy just a cultural flaw, or is there something, deeper going on?
Because then you have evolutionary psychology, which offers a completely different take. Instead of seeing it as a flaw to get rid of, they see jealousy as a vital, adaptive signal. Think of it like a built-in alarm system, a wake-up call that a relationship you really depend on might be in danger.
Okay, so if it's a signal, what's the purpose of all that pain? Why would we evolve an emotion that feels so terrible?
The answer from this angle is all about survival. For our ancestors, strong social bonds weren't just nice to have. They were absolutely critical for protection, for finding food, for raising kids. Jealousy, then, may have evolved as this emotional engine that motivates us to gird those essential connections, to fight for the relationships that truly matter.
So if the capacity for jealousy is maybe evolutionary, why do some of us feel it so much more intensely than others? Well, that's where our individual psychology comes in. It determines how loud that alarm bell rings. Things like low self-esteem, a personality that's just more prone to anxiety, or a deep-seated fear of being abandoned can all turn the volume way, way up on those feelings. And why should you really care about getting a handle on this? Because the toll isn't just emotional. As you can see here, intense chronic jealousy can have very real physical consequences. We're talking stomach aches, high blood pressure, even a weaker immune system. This emotion can literally make you sick. So, what changes if you understand all this? If you stop seeing jealousy as some personal failing and you start seeing it as an evolutionary signal, your whole approach can shift. You can go from just reacting to the pain to actually developing a strategy for what to do with the information it's giving you. The first part of that strategy is knowing the difference between a healthy signal and a system malfunction. Normal jealousy is temporary. It's based on a real potential threat. It can even be a good reminder to, appreciate your partner.
But pathological jealousy, that's irrational, it's obsessive, and it's driven by a need to control. That's when the alarm bell is just broken and ringing nonstop, and that's a sign you might need to get some help.
So, when you're dealing with those more manageable, normal flashes of jealousy, what's the actual game plan? Well, Psychology Today suggests this 4-step process. First, just acknowledge it. Don't pretend you're not feeling it. Second, dig a little deeper. What's the fear underneath it all? Are you afraid of being alone? Afraid of not being good enough? Third, communicate. Talk about it. And fourth, practice mindfulness. Just learn to watch the feeling come and go without letting it take over the driver's seat.
And that communication piece, it's absolutely crucial. And it's not about making accusations. It's about being honest about your own feelings, checking if your expectations are realistic, and working together to negotiate boundaries. It's a chance to ask, hey, what might be missing here, and how can we fix it together? And that can turn a really destructive moment into a chance to actually strengthen your relationship.
And this quote from Dr. Gonzalez Barrios really sums up the antidote, doesn't it? The cure for the poison of jealousy isn't to suppress it or get angry. It's compassion for yourself and for your partner, and a real commitment to building mutual trust. That's how you disarm the emotion.
So, we end up right back where we began, but hopefully with a totally new perspective. Instead of asking, how do I get rid of this feeling? Maybe the better question is the one you see here. If you treat jealousy not as a character flaw, but as a piece of data, what can it teach you? What can it tell you about your fears, your insecurities, and what you truly value in your relationships? That's the real question.